The book of Amos, and this is just the introduction. Amos is sent to Israel at a time when the nation feels militarily secure and prosperous. We'll look at that. It was the best of all possible times. And yet, in spite of that, they're turning to idolatry and they're abandoning their heritage, the northern kingdom. Does that sound familiar? You're beginning to get a feeling already, maybe, how relevant this book is to us in our day. And that's going to echo all the way through this with some surprises that many scholars have missed. In any case, we'll get into that. Well, let's talk about Amos the man. The word Amos is an infrequently used verb, which means to load a burden upon an animal. As a noun, it means a burden. Amos the man. He came from an agricultural background, had no formal religious credentials. He wasn't a prophet, he wasn't a priest or anything like that. He was a foreigner to the northern kingdom. Keep that in mind as we read his elegant work. And just to get a background here, if we look at, as you all know, when Solomon finally died, there was a civil war. And the nation of Israel split into two houses. The southern kingdom called itself Judah. The northern kingdom called itself Israel. The northern kingdom, to whom Amos' message was directed, was at the zenith of their power. Never had it so good. Now the northern kingdom was under Jeroboam II here. He was the fourth king of the Jehu dynasty. He had a reign of 41 years. Jeroboam II had ironclad military strength, strong standing army, ironclad defensive configuration. Commerce thrived. An upper class emerged, expensive homes were built, the rich enjoyed an indolent, indulgent lifestyle. Does that sound like anyone you know? The poor became targets for legal and economic exploitation. They always are. Slavery for debt was easily accepted. Standards of morality had sunk to a new low ebb. They weren't great to begin with. Religion, understand that's not religion in this negative sense, flourished. The people thronged to the shrines for the yearly festivals, enthusiastically offering their sacrifices. But you'll quickly find out God was not impressed. They steadfastly maintained that their God was with them and considered themselves immune to disaster. I'm hoping this has a familiar ring to it, okay? They were very prosperous. Samaria, their capital, they had peace and power of conquest for 41 years. Think about that. That's a long time. They had new markets. They had trade in every direction. They had a growing wealthy class. Many had summer and winter homes. They had a BMW in every garage, to use a modern vernacular. Charles Dickens opens his famous novel, Tale of Two Cities, with an interesting line that's will echo all through this in a sense. He was talking about London and Paris and the different, but his line is very well known. It was the best of times and it was the worst of times. A very Dickens-like remark, but very descriptive of this period. Because from their point of view, it was the best of times. And yet two prophets, Hosea locally and Amos from the south, preached not really repentance, really simply announcing their destiny. I'm going to catch on that as we go. So there's a message here of warning. Amos's improbable warnings were fulfilled in less than 50 years with the utter destruction of the northern kingdom. They did not welcome the uninvited prophet from the south, Amos. His message was that Israel was experiencing mercy before the storm. His message is one of God's impending judgment. And I'll let you think, as we go through the study, come to your own conclusions of whether or not there's a parallel today. United States today, are we militarily secure? We think we're prosperous, only because we can borrow. Godly foundations are abandoned in our country. Prayer, God in schools, and all of that. You've all heard that echo before. Definition of marriage itself in family. Sexual perversion is promoted in this country. Are we experiencing grace before judgment? Are we in the twilight of our years? Is it the twilight's last gleaming is the question.